Armeen Magath Cahirley, and I want to thank Deputy Pauline Tully for bringing this motion, and I understand she's Deputy Chair of the committee, the Joint Committee on Disability Matters, that made a pre-budget submission, and I would draw all our attention to that because in the short introduction they point out that our failure to ratify, and this is cross-party, this is everybody represented on this, the call for the urgent ratification, as Ireland is one of the last countries in the EU to ratify the optional protocol. We're an outlier, and the government likes to use that word outlier in relation to a lot of things, but we're clearly an outlier. But the committee, cross-party, goes on to say that the delay in ratifying the optional protocol represents an instance of structural violence, where the lack of implementation of complaints mechanism and subsequent accountability harms people with disabilities by preventing them from meeting their basic rights under the Convention, cross-party. And they go on then to have 68 recommendations. And of course, it's to align the government's programme in line with our obligations under that convention. And they also call for the immediate publication, as does this motion, of the Disability Action Plan. And I looked up to see, was it published, Minister? And I find another. I'm swimming under documentation, and I've only got a small selection of what's been published on transforming people's lives with disability, and we're still waiting for that transformation. But what has been transformed is language itself, because we're no longer talking about the urgency of the provision of services. We're talking about, what's the word, gradually improving or progressing. So not provision, but progression. So we've certainly had a transformation, but not in relation to services. And then we have insult upon insult, and we have Disability Action Plan, a report on public consultation. Can you imagine more public consultation, a wide range of priorities, and there was a need, of course, to root disability support services in the philosophy and the rights set out in the UN Convention on People with Disabilities. And of course, we keep failing to do that. And in my few minutes, I'm just going to go back to report after report, and I'm going to go back just 10 years. And back in 2012, we had a report, Value for Money and Policy Review of Disability Services. 2014, that beautiful word, the Transforming Lives Programme, a national collaborative effort to build better services for people with disabilities. 2018, I've skipped a few in between in the interest of not boring you. Report on the Future Needs of Disability Service 2018. 2021, we've had the Indicon review. And of course, that was absolutely damning in its findings, wasn't it? And it set out disability capacity review. And of course, in the few minutes available, I won't, but the health executive estimates that there may be 600 people with no day service who need one. There is also unmet need for those getting partial day services, which is estimated would be an equivalent to an extra 600 full-time places. No action on that. Another report. And then if we look at just putting it in context, people with disability are more than twice as likely to experience poverty and deprivation. This has been said by everybody. And one tires of saying this, so I can't imagine what it's like for people with disabilities who have been up in that chamber listening to us talking about. Now, you talked about us signing and ratifying the protocol. Let me just tell you how long that took. 2007, we signed it. It took us to 2018 to ratify us. And God knows, unless you tell us here tonight, Minister, when we're going to sign the optional protocol, so it means something. In the meantime, we have failed to bring in a cost of disability, haven't we? Of course, I recognise that there were good things in the budget and once-off payments. But, it gets to the point where that's insulting, because it goes against the very core of what people are asking. There's a lot more I would like to say, but I'm going to finish in my last 40 seconds, because this captures it. He happens to be a neighbour of mine, but he's also an author who has won many awards, Christian O'Reilly, No Magic Pill. And at the centre of this are people with disabilities who are the main actors and actresses in it. They play to full houses and standing ovations in Galway, in the Black Box, and in Tala, I understand, in the Civic Theatre there. I might have those words wrong. It should be in the Abbey Theatre. It should be in our national theatre, because it's putting people with disabilities exactly where they want to be. And I recommend the book, No Magic Pill, where we treat people with disabilities with respect and dignity and design our buildings to universal design. Thank you.